Okay, so, alright. I am so tired of these dumbass videos where daughters want to keep saying that mothers are jealous of them, and you know what? Please give that silly ass narrative a rest. That shit is so tired, just like all the manosphere talking points about how black women are all a monolith. We're all wretched because they don't know the definition of the word ratchet has nothing to do with what they're trying to say, which is wretched, right? We're not that. And just because a few people's moms didn't know how to, I don't know, and it mostly doesn't even have anything to do with how people were treated. What I've come to understand with a lot of these very overly sensitive young women today on social media, it is simply the way someone speaks to them. And it's like they don't understand tonation. They don't understand that. I've said this before, and I guess it just falls on deaf ears, right? Their mothers have been traumatized in life, more so than they ever could be. Because the majority of their mothers, if their mothers were born in the 50s or 60s or 70s like mine's, they, especially if they were born in the 50s, they were subject to segregation and Jim Crow. So you're talking about people being traumatized by stuff that you couldn't even begin to understand. Then on top of that, because there were no domestic violence laws back in those days, women were beat literally to death, shot and stabbed to death, and stuffed underneath the crawl spaces of the house. And no one cared to look for them because there were no laws to hold these black males accountable for killing these women so brutally. Nor when these dudes would rape their daughters and these little girls would be forced to have their father's children and pretend like it was somebody else's child. These are all the things that you really immature young black women today on social media don't take into consideration. You basically do the same damn thing that black males do by blaming everything on the black mother, as if the circumstances in our neighborhoods don't affect all of us, as if racism from white America does not affect all of us, as if the way that the cops kill us does not affect all of us. Come on, y'all. You don't even talk about the things in a fair, not even fair, in a truthful way. Everything is one-sided, where you're always playing the victim and you're victimized by a mom who, in your opinion, just wakes up one day and goes, oh, you know what? I'm just going to do some terrible shit and treat my daughter like trash today. I don't have shit else to do. Like, you know for a fact that is not how it goes. You seriously know it. But yet you keep portraying this false narrative. And it's ridiculous. Goddamn, that smokehouse is killing it tonight with the food. Fogo de Chao is about to have me dying on the corner. Oh my Lord. So they smoked the food over there, and they're smoking it so bad tonight that I'm about to choke to death just walking past the damn restaurant. It's crazy. Fogo de Chao. Jesus Christ. So, but anyway, y'all don't never want to admit to the reality of things. I don't know if it's because you're not aware of it. You look at all these damn rats. You're not been made privy to it or what, but come on, I know you see them. Let's go. You don't incorporate that. You just always talk about stuff that really has nothing to do with the reality of things. You know, there really is a thing called parent alienation that a lot of young black women do today because of the fads and the trends on social media, where it tears up family relations and it makes mothers and daughters have a problem, because you have all of these sick in the head fucking psychiatrists who have issues of their own now, and don't think they don't. Some of them need a fucking psychiatrist too, right? They go out of their way to try to tell black women and other women to have a problem with their mother, because they always try to make every issue a person has go back to the roots of it being an issue with the mother, when most times it don't have anything to do with the mother, nothing at all. They leave out everybody else in the family who plays an impressionable part on the child's life. They always manage to never hold the father responsible for anything, as if, you know, he's the invisible man or something. And it's just sick. And the same way y'all like to say that, you know, mothers are jealous of their daughters and all this crazy shit just because somebody talks to you insanely, right? Or maybe does a few irrational things to you. You need to study the black family in psychology and understand what the term polymorphic traumatic experiences are. And then you'll understand why a lot of that shit happens, and why a lot of you younger women who only want to see things through a victimized lens tends to only see things that way. And also, you'll learn that when it comes to parental alienation, this is shit that's taught online. This is not part of our culture or who we are. This has been taught online by telling people to ghost people, telling people to no contact, all this crazy shit that has never been a part of the black community before social media. And believe me, none of this stuff is for the better. It's all for the worse. But when you are a young person, and older women that want to believe this shit and perpetuate it as well, you want to keep pushing this narrative, you are helping with the breaking down of the relationship in the family of mothers and daughters, because no one should ever be telling their daughter to be estranged from their mother when they're black, or to go no contact with their parent just because they don't agree. Because what you're not taking into account is that if you have children, those children are allowed to have relationships with people you don't like, because it has nothing to do with you. And you have to take into consideration their feelings. Just because they're children doesn't mean they don't have feelings, and they don't develop bonds with other people in the family that are very important to them. And you can't just disregard that because you don't like the grandmother, the uncle, the aunt, or whoever, the cousin. It's short-sighted. It's super selfish and extremely ignorant, because your relationship with someone doesn't have anything to do with the relationship of the child with that person. And the thing that you really not understanding is that when you treat your mother and father fucked up, and your children see that, you are literally teaching your kids how to treat you in the future. So, you know, we as black women need to stop, all ages, right, taking so much advice from white women and their crazy fucking culture, and the way that they disregard their parents and don't give a fuck about their family and throw their old people away. That is not who black people are. We never have been that way, and we should not begin to take up their practices like that. We are a communal people. We understand that family and extended family is for a reason. If I don't get along with my aunt, maybe I get along with her sister. But that doesn't mean because I don't get along with my aunt, I shouldn't still have respect and treat her with civility. Understand the definitions of the words. Civility is the way everyone should treat each other, whether they like them or not. So, just a few things to think about. I'm pretty sure that going by how you guys think and how you normally act and how you always make these videos that are very repetitive of being not very much age appropriate and overly immature and not well learned when it comes to psychology. Because if you have a good take on psychology, you don't really have a lot of problems with people when it comes to relationships, you know? And even if those people do give you a hard time, it's like you kind of understand that there's a piece in there where you would know that instead of killing the relationship altogether, you fall back. And there's ways to respond to people who alienate you. There's ways to respond to people who treat you as if you are the ultimate offender at all times. There's different ways of doing things. And when you take psychology seriously, you'll learn to know these things. And none of those videos or those feelings or those beliefs would even be relevant or necessary. And this is why, as Black people, you got to expand your mind. You got to expand your knowledge base and even undertake some philosophy so that you could see things in a different light and not just be blinded by the same low-level, hyper-ghetto frame of reference. Like, you have to have a different point of view for all this silly shit to stop. Now, more than likely, people are not jealous of you when they treat you badly. It's very rudimentary. They, mother or not, father or not, they probably just don't fucking like you. And that's the honesty of it. A person don't got to be jealous of you. Most times they just don't fucking like you. And I think that's another thing y'all don't have a understanding of or want to realize, is because a person can love you and not like you at all, because of the person who you are and because of the things that you do and how you actually deal with things. That is a very real thing. You can be liked, you can be loved, and you cannot be liked and you cannot be loved. It depends on the person. I doubt very highly a lot of things have to do with Naya, come over here, come to this dirt, because you get ready to go upstairs because you're wasting my time. A lot of things don't have to do with jealousy. I understand why y'all say jealousy. You use that term jealousy a lot simply because you have issues with the fact that all your life these black males have been making you feel ugly. So in order to validate yourself, you say shit like jealous, when instead you probably should be saying they don't like me or they show a level of hatred towards me. And that would probably be more correct. Because in all honesty, I work with a lot of ignorant black women, right? Young, old, all that. And there's not a 1 ounce of jealousy I have for them, but I do have a lot of hate. I have a lot of contempt and a hell of a lot of dislike, because I think they are collectively some of the stupidest fucking women I have ever encountered at a work environment. I'm dead serious. So that's why I say those things, because jealousy doesn't cover it, because it's not a strong enough emotion. It's not an expandable enough emotion for the fact that it's phases of dislike. It's phases of contempt I have for these people. Like, literally, if I could, I would go in there and fuck every one of them up if I really could. That's how much I don't like them. And to be jealous is to think that something they have, they possess, I want. They don't have shit I want. Which is why I'm saying to you, that's not the right word. But because it's always trending, that's why y'all use it. And because no one has ever come out and made another argument that y'all tend to clamor to or want to believe in or put stock into, you keep using that same old shit. Because it's like I've said, like, you don't think independently. You're not thinking independently. And you're thinking with collective consciousness. And that's done a lot on these damn social media platforms. A lot. But anyway, That's just my 2 cents, because earlier I had responded to a post where, once again, the conversation was about supposedly all these women who are not jealous of their daughters. They probably just don't like their fucking daughters, right? And I said, you know, y'all seem to do this topic a lot. Do you ever think about doing the topics where the daughters all of a sudden begin to actually hate their mothers because they get into relationships with guys that are not right for them? They couldn't answer that question. But then they went on to try to accuse me of being one of these mothers they have a problem with. And it's like, no, now you're projecting, because that has never been my problem. My problem has always been being overly involved with my children and being a fucking helicopter mom and not really knowing when to sit the fuck down and stay out their business. I've never been hateful, jealous, or neglectful. So yeah, that's not me. But I would like to see, if you are going to have these conversations, do it in a real inclusive, psychologically inclusive way. Like, just don't make it one-dimensional where it's like, oh, my mother's jealous of me and she treats me bad. Like, that's not how psychology works, babe. And the type of psychology you guys are talking about is called abnormal psychology. So if you pick up a book on that, you can understand and you'll be informed about why that doesn't work that way. All right? Because that's a whole nother emotion for a whole nother set of factors that don't play into people treating you like shit. When people treat you like shit, they really don't fucking like you, or they have a hate or a level of disdain for you that is incredible. And another thing I want to say about that jealousy part before I go and before the fire engine comes making all that fucking noise is that the reason you guys keep talking about jealousy instead of contempt is because you base everything off of this black male worshiping stance. Like, you're always worried about being acceptable or validated or liked or craved by these fucking bums. And so therefore you base every other woman's existence off of that same need that you have to be validated by these dudes who are fucking garbage and who basically talk about you and consider you to be less than human, and yet you still walk around wanting to be desired by these pieces of shit. And that's really where that whole topic of conversation comes from, with the jealousy. Shut the fuck up. Anyway, I gotta go back upstairs now. I'm not opening the door for that fuck. Let's walk around now. It's gonna rain on us a little bit. Yeah, so that's where all that jealousy shit comes from. Because, stop it! Get over here. Because all that shit is about, who's that? Oh, what's up, y'all? Alright, let me go. Bye. Daya, sit down.